Good morning, everyone. Great to be with you this morning. It's Tuesday morning. It is horrible outside. It's raining, it's windy. I took the dog for a walk this morning and I thought all the storms had passed us by. We've had loads lately, haven't we? Perfect timing for Kevin to look at Jesus calming the storm on Monday. Thanks for that, Kev. Well, today in our Essential Jesus series, we're in Matthew chapter 14 and verses 13 to 21. Again, we're looking at a miracle of Jesus, and lots of Jesus's miracles are well known and very popular. I imagine that pretty much most people brought up in the UK will have heard of this miracle. Jesus feeding the 5,000. Well, actually he fed 15,000, but it's only numbers, isn't it? The amazing thing is, or the shame of the thing is, when you've heard it so many times, when you've read it so many times, that you can sort of lose a little bit of that wow factor. You can just read it like, oh yeah, he's fed the 5,000. But we need to remember that he's fed loads and loads of people, 15,000 people with 2 fish and 5 loaves. And that's amazing. Let's never forget the wow factor to Jesus's miracles. Now, the skeptics and the atheists will try and explain this miracle away. It's actually harder to explain it away than it is just to believe it. Because they'll say that, well, they all brought a packed lunch, and when they saw Jesus sharing out this little meal, their boys' meal, they all started sharing theirs out as well. The other explanation they have for it is that the disciples had gone and hidden loads of bread and fish in a cave, and then when they started serving the people, they started passing it out and passing it out. It's easier just to believe that the God who created the universe can bring multiplication to 2 fish and 5 loaves, in my book anyway. So the verses start by saying, when Jesus heard what had happened, he withdrew and went to a solitary place. Jesus wanted to be on his own. I'm not sure about you, but do you get tired when you're constantly with people, when you're giving out to people all the time, spiritually and physically? I'm not sure. Do you need time to revitalize, to have some rest, just to have your quiet space? Maybe it's your man cave or your woman cave or your person cave, however I should say that these days. I go for a little walk with the dog and just have some quiet time away from the children and the wife, but don't tell them I said that. Just some time on your own with God. It just helps you to rest and revitalize, doesn't it? To regain your mojo. When we don't do that, we can become easily irritable. When we're tired, we can have very little patience, and we can snap easily and say the wrong things. But here, Jesus is withdrawing for time on his own because he just heard that his cousin John the Baptist had just been beheaded. So he wanted time to mourn and to spend with his father in prayer. Well, Jesus didn't get that time on his own, did he? Because he went across on a boat, but the people, they all walked round the lake, and when he landed, there was large crowds there. I'm not sure about you, but I know that if I wanted time on my own to mourn and just to get away from people, how would have I reacted to say, oh, get back in the boat and go somewhere else? Thankfully, Jesus isn't like me, or he isn't like you. He's selfless, isn't he? He puts other people first. He saw the crowd, and it says he had great compassion upon them. What does that compassion mean? It means that he was deeply moved inside emotionally for the people, because they were like a sheep without a shepherd. They were lost and they were in need. Thankfully, Jesus put other people first. He was selfless, and he gives us an example to put other people in front of ourselves, and even in our times of need, to put other people first. And that's what Jesus did. He sets an example for us to follow, because he's God and he's full of love and compassion. So Jesus spends some time with a large crowd, and it's getting late, and the disciples say, Lord, send these people away to go and find something to eat. Jesus, knowing what's about to happen, he challenges them, and he says, you find them something to eat. Jesus is challenging them for a reason, because he wants them to grow in their faith. He wants them to grow in their trust. He wants them to grow in their reliance upon him. but also to grow in their wow, amazement factor of this is the living God that we're with and he can do anything. So he says, you give them something to eat. And what do they say? Well, we've only got 5 bread and 2 fish. What does Jesus say? Jesus says, bring them here to me. And here we see that he isn't only concerned in our spiritual well-being, he's concerned in our physical well-being. He's concerned in our physical needs, of our needs and desires, our daily needs. It's no surprise to God the price of petrol. It's no surprise to God the price of energy bills. He knows what we need and he wants to provide for all of our needs, physical and spiritual. He can provide for all of our needs, and it's according to his riches in glory. And as far as I know, God's pretty rich. He owns the whole world. It's all his. But what's interesting, he says he doesn't provide for all of our greed. It's all of our needs that he provides for. And the amazing thing about this miracle is, I love the fact that he says, bring it here to me. The miracle occurs when they place it into the hands of Jesus, into the hands of the living God. God can take the little and he can turn it into great things. In God's economy, 5 plus 2 doesn't equal 7. 5 plus 2 equals 15,000 because it's 5 plus 2 in the hands of God. And he can take a little and he can do great things. And with those 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he fed over 15,000 people, because our God can do exceedingly more than we could ever ask or imagine. There's a lovely verse at the end that it says, they all ate and were satisfied. Isn't that lovely? They were all satisfied. When we put things into the hands of God, he can do miracles. That's who he is. Let's never forget that. He's the God of miracles, and he can provide for all of our needs according to his riches and glory. Even through any situation, God can do anything. There's just one little thought I want to leave you today. Is the little boy. In the morning, he would have said, Mum, I want to go out and see Jesus today. I want to go listen to Jesus. And she might have said, hold on, you're not going anywhere until you've got your packed lunch. So here's some bread and here's some fish, and go on, off you go. And then he's there listening to Jesus, and then he asks, has anybody got any food? And he says, yeah, I've got this. And then he gave it to Jesus. He was willing to give it, to share it. And then he would have known, and he would have seen Jesus feed all this massive, huge crowd of 15,000 people. And he would have just been in amazement. He would have been in amazement. And there was 12 baskets left full of leftovers at the end. Maybe he took some home and said, Mum, look, I've come home with more. And I've met Jesus and I've seen him do amazing things. And that's how large crowds followed Jesus, because he was a God of miracles and he was doing amazing things. That young boy would have grown up knowing that he'd met Jesus, and I'm sure he would have been one of the early Christians as well after his resurrection. Have a great day, everybody. I hope today, Wednesday, isn't as wet as windy as it is this morning. God bless everyone. Bye-bye.